my creators, and welcome to another video. So this is part 3 of Seher, her birthday mail, and this time I am making an art journal page for her. I like to do so for my pen pals or in Happy Mail to create some art for them. And why I call this an art journal page is because I channel the person into an art project. So that is what I'm doing here. I cut out a piece of mixed media paper, Strathmore Mixed Media paper, and I'm just going to start this art journal page with a collage. I'd use old book pages for this and some Ranger multimedia matte. So about this series, here are some scrap papers from the projects I did before for Seher, which I've already posted, and there's a playlist on my channel if you want to see all of the projects that I made for her, like the junk journal and an envelope flipbook. So here are the scraps, and I thought it was perfect to use them for my art journal page, so everything will be somewhat cohesive with each other. I like to do that with my mails, so of course I'm going to do this as well with this big package, and I'm just going to stick them down in a manner that looks pleasing to me. There's not really a rhyme or reason, except that I wanted to have some of the color and the texture of the paper. So that is what I'm doing right here. So like I said, there is a playlist for everything that I made for Seher, and the next video will be about me finishing up this mail by doing some mail art. So that will be more mixed media goodness. I painted the box and I wrapped everything, and that will be, you can see that on the next video. So if you wonder what I am using, there's always a list of supplies listed down below. If I can find stuff online, there is a link to it. Beware, there are affiliate links. You don't pay anything extra, but I will get a little commission if you order through those links, and that will help me out with the channel. And as you probably can hear, I am recording my very first voiceover with a new microphone. So I am wondering what you guys think about this microphone and the quality of the sound. It is something that I have to get used to, because I never recorded like this with such a professional microphone. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. And now I finished my collage, and I really like how this is looking, and I dried everything off with my heat tool. Now I'm going to use some distress oxides to add a little bit more color. So everything, all the colors that I picked are from the collection, so I thought they would fit this collection. They're not exactly the same colors, but I think you understand what I mean. So I'm just going to add this in the manner that I like to add distress oxides. They worked a bit differently because I put them on a non-porous surface because of the matte medium, but it was doable, and I really enjoyed doing this this way, especially because you can see the background still through it. I didn't want to do white gesso or something on top of it to blend it all in. I just really wanted to, you know, give a lot of texture and color. So after I've done this, I'm going to take some acrylic paints, and I love to use the Amsterdam Acrylic paints, and a stencil from Dylusions, and I'm going to stencil these leaves. You can't see them very well at the end. Maybe I should have picked another color, but you know, it's just a background, so I don't stress too much about it, and it gives more texture, so that's always a good thing, right? So, and after that I will dry this. I dry in between every layer to make sure that nothing will bleed. And now I'm taking this Harlequin stencil by Holtz, and I take this beautiful pewter color from Amsterdam Acrylic. It's a not opaque color. I don't know if there is a different word for it, but it gives a beautiful metallic shine, so it's not as prominent, but it's still there, especially if you turn it into the light. It's very, very beautiful. So now I'm going to draw out a flower, or a poppy to be precise. but it was kind of hard to see my pencil lines on this background. It's okay. I really wanted to make a puppy for Seher because I know she really enjoys nature and flowers, and yeah, it's also a red flower. I know red is her favorite color, which is a challenging color for me. I try to use it more often, and especially after making this meal for her, I feel a bit more comfortable using red, but it is, I don't know what it is. I think the color is so dominant and so in your face. I find it very hard to use. But you should never walk away from a challenge, right? So that is why I made this for Seher. So after I drew out my flower, or at least made some guidelines, I am taking the rest of the paint that was laying there, I believe this is titanium buff or something, to make a base for the flower so that I could paint over it and I was able to see everything. So here is the base of my poppy. It's a huge poppy. And yeah, I'm just going to give it a base color so I can paint properly over it. And I'm just adjusting some of the leaves. Of course, I'm drying this as well in between. And now I'm going to take some, I believe, barn door distress paint. And this is what I mean with red. It's like so in your face. It's a beautiful color. I appreciate all the colors, but I think it's so difficult to work with. But I'm just painting my flower here, and I try to follow the shape of the leaves to paint it, because you will see my paint strokes. So I try to keep it a bit organic and try to, yeah, that they will fit the movement of the leaves, but still get a good coverage. And I really enjoyed using the distress paint this way. I usually don't use them like this, but I really enjoyed painting with them like this. I also did this because my daubers are dried up. I think people can relate to that. I do have new daubers, but with colors that I don't use very often, I don't want to put a new dauber on there. So now the experimenting phase is starting. So I missed some of the lines around the petals, and I thought maybe with my pencil, but it wasn't, you know, harsh enough. So I took my Posca paint marker to outline, because you can always go darker, but you can't go lighter, right? So that is why I tried it out first with my pencil. I could also erase my pencil, so that was good. I added the center of the poppy in there, and then I thought, my leaves are a bit off. Maybe they're a bit too big. I'm not sure. But yeah, just keep on working. Every art piece goes through an ugly stage or a stage that you are in doubt. And I also had that with this piece. I am using a Neocolor 2 to add these lines in my petals. And I'm like, nope, I don't like this. And I take a baby wipe to remove it. But the distress paint wasn't completely dried yet. So it distressed the petal, which is fine because it's just a petal, and in the end I don't even think you see it anymore. So coming back in with my pencil and trying to figure out if this is what I want, and now I go in with my black marker and I just go for it, but a bit more controlled. I thought I would like the messiness, but I didn't, and now I just go in there a bit controlled, but it wasn't there yet. So after drying this, I take a white jelly roll, Sakura jelly roll, and I add some dots because I thought this is kind of a more of a doodly flower, becoming a more doodly flower and more like cartoonish or something. So why not add dots? I mean, why not? So I added those, and that made it a lot better, especially when I added them in the center of the flower as well. And this is the point that I started liking this piece. And I thought, okay, we're going somewhere. So I'm also going to add some sketchy highlights with this jelly roll on the petals, on the tops of the petals. And I always try to keep in mind where the light is coming from. I'm not a star at this, so I do make mistakes, but I try. After that, I left the flower alone. I knew there was something to be added, but the top of the flower, I left it alone to think about what I wanted to do. And I'm going to paint the stem. So I'm going to use this sap green color, and I will also add a bit of titanium buff in there to fix the highlight, because that got lost because of my painting. And this is just a matter of adding layers to your painting, and just keep on adding until you're happy. And this also gives a more feeling of a depth in your drawings and paintings, to use different shades of your color. So of course, to keep it consistent, I'm also going to outline this, and it's also a good way to correct your mistakes because I didn't paint that beautifully or straight or nice. So now it is, and I take the jelly roll to add some highlights. I'm really liking where this is going, but I missed a bit of depth. So I take my purple Neo color and I'm going to add some shading, and I always start light and not as heavy, because you can always add more. And I'm just scribbling it on there on where there should be shading on the flower. And I love to use different colors for shading. So in this case I used purple, but you can also use blue or green. It depends on what you're making, of course, but shadow isn't always black or gray. You can use a ton of different colors to make it look like shadowing. So I really like this, and it popped, and it took my flower to the next level. And now I'm going to add some blue Neo color around the flower in the background to make it pop more from the background. And I'm really happy I did so. You can also do this with gelatos. You don't need the Neo color tools. Of course I have to add a dooley border, otherwise it isn't my art piece. I think Marie left me a comment saying that this is now my signature thing. So I think she's right. Because I cannot do without, and when I don't do it, people are like, where's your doodly border? So here it is. Of course I had to add it. Now I'm taking some Nouveau mica mist in antique gold to add some gold splatters. I'm really enjoying the gold splatters lately, and I'm taking this brown packaging paper to write out my quote. So as you see, I tried it out different times. It was too big, or I didn't like my writing, or just kept on writing until it was good enough for me. And that is also why I do everything in pencil first. So I took a black fine liner to write out my quote, and I just rip it out of this to give it more the organic feel that I want. And I chose the quote, "You gotta nourish to flourish," because sometimes we need self-care to get better again, and it's okay to take care of ourselves first before we do all the other stuff. I thought it would be fun if I did a faux stitch around the quote if it was stitched on this art piece. And I'm adding some of the blue shading as well to tie everything in that's on top of the background with each other, and to give it a bit more depth. After this, I am going to take my white jelly roll that I also received from Seher for my birthday to add some highlights to the text and some little dots, and that is my art piece for Seher. I really hope you enjoyed this video and that you will check out all the other things that I made for her. There is a playlist, and I hope to see you all next time for the mail art process. If you love this video, please leave me a thumbs up. I would love it if you would consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you all next time. Bye!